Good morning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze, man. Always rocking with you guys, as always, man. Outside of me, I got my guy, Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, in the building. That's right. A lot of news, a lot of conversation, a lot of talk. Chicago Bears, very interesting team here. PFF doesn't know where to put them. PFF not big fans of the Chicago Bears defense.
Come on now.
Got to talk about it. Because it's going to be an interesting one heading into next season. Will we see them take a step back versus a tougher schedule? And a step back is tough because we wouldn't really have steps in the right direction last season.
Nope.
And then, for the people joining us over here on the Chicago Bulls Breeze as well, shout out to y'all. Chicago Bulls draft Noa Essengue.
Who?
Yeah, that's what a lot of Chicago did yesterday. I think there is an interesting comparison to the young man. Also, what do we want to see the Bulls do in round 2? We'll talk about all that and more on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily Morning Breeze Edition. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, the date is 6/26. It's 7:04 in the morning. And Jordan JC.
Yep.
The French are coming to Chicago.
Yeah.
As Doris Burke once said, bonjour.
Oh, Lord,
yeah, there it is.
No, I know we can't start it off like that.
I know the French and the Germans have beef, but bonjour. Says Noa Essengue.
Oh, Lord. He better have something. It better be good. He better be good.
Oh, man. Appreciate y'all for rocking with this show. As always, man, need y'all go ahead, do your boy a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do.
Come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Sue Young said. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. Jordan JC, what's going on, my boy? How you feeling?
What's good, man? I'm pleasantly feeling good right now. I'm wide awake, but yeah, wasn't too pleased with the way things went down in the draft yesterday. You might as well put that picture of me when I found out about Colston Loveland being picked by the Bears. Like that's kind of the same reaction I had. That's how I looked when we were on the clock. So we'll talk about it, but yeah, I wasn't too impressed.
We'll see. I have an interesting comp for this young man that I think will be a very. It may make Bulls fans feel a little bit better about the pick. You know, I didn't go to bed. Okay. You know, I didn't go to bed. I got off the draft, recorded one more video because I was still hurt by the Cedric Howard pick. One pick.
Right before.
Pick. And I truly do believe, I said this on Locked On Bulls, I think that could be the Aaron Donald, Kyle Fuller pick. Really
Don't you do me like that. Don't you do me like that.
You still got a good player, right? You still got a good player, but
so he's a Hall of Famer and we got an all-star.
I wasn't screaming to go get this kid for nothing. But we'll see what ends up happening. Let's start off with this Bears conversation with PFF dropping a very interesting ranking for the Chicago Bears linebacker crew and for the Chicago Bears defensive line. They're going through their offseason of lists, if you will. The defensive line for the Chicago Bears ranking 18th in the NFL. Said the Bears added interior defender Grady Jarrett to the unit that lacks star power, but has plenty of star caliber players. In 2024, Chicago's defense generated pressure on 34.2% of pass plays without blitzing, which ranks 6th in the NFL. The 2024 defensive line was led by second-year defender Javon Dexter, who's 70.3 PFF overall grade, ranked 23rd at the position. Also, looking at the linebacker room, it does not get higher How about we say that? The Chicago Bears ranking top 15, I guess, in theory, in this list. But ranking 14 here, the Bears will be hoping for a bounce back campaign from their two highly paid veteran linebackers. Tremaine Edmonds hasn't been able to reach the heights of his outstanding 2022 when he earned an 81.9 PFF overall grade in 2 seasons with Chicago. Edmonds has posted a below average 57.5 PFF overall grade. TJ Edwards played very well in 2023, but notched a career worst 60.7 PFF overall grade last season. New defensive coordinator Dennis Allen will need to extract better production out of the pair, considering the lack of experience behind them. Jordan, JC, my question to you today, and my question to the chat out here as well. Shout out to the chat in the building. Appreciate y'all.
Shout out, chat.
Man. When you look at where this Bears defense was at last season versus where they are this season, especially coming into yet another season where the schedule gets much tougher than what you dealt with last year, do you expect the Chicago Bears to take a little bit of a step back this season?
No, I disagree with the idea that the Bears defense takes a step back, because I think that we've countered last season with getting actual talent and a certain level of skill set in the building that I think will kind of solidify and kind of balance out the toughness of the schedule. I know last season when we came into the season, you know, we were really excited about all the pieces and the depth that we got on the defensive line. And for the first couple of weeks, it looked as if it was really kind of coming together. And then it fell apart. You know, people got injured. Billings got injured, which was a really big blow to Javon Dexter and his production. And then everything kind of trickled off from there. Montes was dealing with injury. And so, you know, you have all those things that happened last year. But from what I see, I think that we've made major improvements. The potential of this defensive line is very good. You know, you have Dio, who was signed to a very decent contract for his potential. Me say Dio.
Daylight come and me no wanna go. Oh.
All right, there you go. Yeah.
Makes you feel whole when I do that. I don't like
it starts in the morning when you do that. No, but it seems as if I feel like they're probably waiting to see what the production looks like on the field. I'm fine with being kind of middle of the pack when you're talking about the line and the linebackers. I wouldn't have a problem with saying that that's kind of where they're at. Obviously, you want to see way more production from Tremaine Edmonds because, as you mentioned, you know, we paid him to be a top linebacker, and he hasn't really been consistent, or he hasn't flashed. You know, he hasn't stood out in a sense as much as we've liked him to stand out, even more than Edwards. Edwards has been the guy that has really lived up to his contract and has really put in, you know, the production, the work, and has pretty much stood out every other single game, you know, of the season. And so I think we're not going to take a step back. I think that the challenge of the schedule is a question mark, but at the same time, I don't foresee us being worse than what we were last year.
I think that for me is the big question with the defense, right? Like, did you improve the defensive line enough to where you can sit there and feel good about the production that everyone else is going to have? I think it all starts with the trenches up front. For me, I do like the waves idea that the Bears are kind of going with here. And I think that is going to make a big difference for the team moving forward. If you're giving me 40% of Grady Jarrett or 100% of Grady Jarrett 40% of the time, and you have that opportunity to basically say, listen, you're not out here on a 3-down player, right? You right now are basically in pass rush situations, or we need you out here on these run blocking situations. You need to pin your ears back and just go all out for 40% of the time, because after this, we're going to bring in Shamar Turner, or we're going to bring in Andrew Billings, or we're going to bring in, right? He kind of can play both sides with you know, Javon Dexter as well. You're going to get a breather after this, but right now we need you to go all out for this. I think that is a conversation worth having, you know, and I think that could improve the Bears defense dramatically for Javon Dexter, for Andrew Billings, that same thing. But the pressure just has to uptick. And I think it all begins with the defensive line. Yurko set a line very early on in us doing the Chicago Bears podcast. And I think that it has held true throughout this entire conversation around the Chicago Bears team. If you aren't out there with a good defensive line in front of linebackers that you signed, your linebackers are going to be fighting for their lives. I think we can say that's how Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards has gone. Now, is that an excuse for what we've seen out of the linebacker position, especially from Tremaine Edmonds? No. But I do think when you talk about, right, them taking a step forward, it all starts with that defensive line. And you got some really good offensive lines on the docket this year, but you do start the season off, which very early on in the season, you can gain some confidence. You got Minnesota, brand new quarterback, young quarterback, trying to figure out their offensive line. You've got Detroit, who just lost their starting center, who could be, trying to figure out that offensive line. And then you got Dallas, who's adding to a offensive line that was abysmal last season, basically, and is trying to kind of bounce back with that offensive line. Like, you start off with a little bit of a better situation, I guess, or the best case scenario situation with some of the teams you play. And because of that, maybe you can build that confidence early on that defensive line that allows them to flourish.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think one of the things that we're constantly overlooking, we've said it a million times, but do we believe in Dennis Allen? Do we believe in, the coaching staff that's going to scheme up these players to put them in a position to be dominant, to be successful? We've seen his track record as a defensive coach, and it is very good. We've seen him paired up with some of the better edge rushers in the league and developing of some of the premier edge rushers in the league. And so that's where I have faith as well, is that, even though, yes, the challenge is the schedule and the offensive lines that we're going up against are going to be top tier in this league, I think that Dennis Allen is up to task to also make sure that we're as dominant as possible, that we're going to be consistent. The only issue that I really question is, the health. But when you say, we're going to have this turnstile type of, rotation with, the number of players that we have, despite the age of Grady Jarrett, Dio kind of coming into his own, Javon taking another step, Billings hopefully staying healthy this year. Like, there's a number of players, Shamar, obviously, Stewart, or rather Shamar Turner. Yep. We should see everybody pretty much have a chance at a bite at the apple and not have to worry about being overly exerted and overly used in game to game, because there's just a lot of depth there. And so that's where the belief is the depth, the rotation, and then, of course, mostly the coaching staff.
Yeah, listen, I think that does play a big part in this. I mean, did you upgrade with your defensive coordinators going from Matt Eberflus to Dennis Allen 100%? What is that going to do for the defense? And I'll be honest with you, it's going to be a different defensive style. I think you're going to see a lot more different fronts. I think you're going to see a lot more, we know we're going to see a lot more man coverage from Jalen Johnson and guys like that. Like, what does that do for the team? And I think that is also a question that maybe we haven't talked about enough with this defense. What does playing in man more do for this team? Does that help them or hurt them in a sense? And the reason I ask that is because, a full game of Jordan Addison on Tyreek Stevenson might not be the answer that you're looking for either. A full game of Justin Jefferson on Tyreek Stevenson is definitely not the answer that you're looking for either. But there has to be an upgrade in so many players' technique on this team because of this new style of defense, because of what the Bears are going to be adding in. That, to me, I do kind of question some of the, some of the pieces that we have on this team, and are they going to be a part of this team? We saw they went out and got some different style DBs in the draft this year. That seem a little bit more lanky, seem a little bit taller. Yeah, I mean, very, very Al Harris-like, if you will. And
Zay Frazier.
Is that little Zay Frazier? You know what I mean? Is that going to be kind of the direction that the Bears are looking to go moving forward? Again, I trust the DB guy with my life. It's probably the spot I'm worried about the least on this team. But I do think there's a conversation to be had on, with the change in defense, do you still have the right pieces? And again, we look at that DB room. You also look back again at the defensive line. Do you have the right pieces on the defensive line for Dennis Allen? The reason I'm not worried about Dio Odangbo is because he fits exactly what Dennis Allen wants to do. I think Dennis Allen can get the most out of him. Montes Sweat does not. And if we're being honest about this, when having a conversation on the defense, it starts and ends with him. You're paid to be a premier pass rusher.
It really does. Yeah.
Is Montes Sweat going to be a premier pass rusher this season?
I think so. I think so. If he stays healthy, because I had no idea he was as hurt as he was last year, and he's playing through injuries, and we know that a lot of NFL players do. Not everybody is 100% throughout the season. I don't think anybody's 100% throughout the season at a certain point. Like you're going through a lot of car crashes, a lot of taxing on your body. But if it's true that Montez kind of played at what 75, 80% of what he really was, then okay, let's see that. Because there was a lot of expectations for him coming off of when we acquired him, and he had the 6.5 sacks in Washington, and then came here and got 6.5 sacks, I believe, or something like that, to end out the season with the Bears. Like you expected him to catapult himself into that atmosphere where he could be a part of some of the better production when it comes to edge rushing. And the sack total, and then it just kind of fizzled out. He didn't create enough pressure. There wasn't enough quarterback hits. There wasn't a lot of anything from him. And of course, you could attribute that to the other side. There's not a lot of pressure coming from the other side, so the focus was on Montez being double teamed. Having a running back kind of knock him off of his pursuit a little bit. Like there was a lot of attention to him, but we want to see a clear upgrade in your production this year. You are the guy. We paid you to be the guy. So definitely it starts and ends with him, I think. And of course, it starts and ends with the trenches totally. We always talk about how the defensive line, if they're getting pressure on the quarterback, that allows the linebackers to play free and play, better in coverage and to kind of pin their ears back. And then, of course, the DBs, which is the best room, I think, for our defense, they play free as well. They're able to kind of cut those passing lanes, try to, go for interceptions, things of that nature. That's why I think Tariq Stevenson will look better in a sense if you have everybody kind of playing in unison. And so that whole defensive unit, if the trenches are eating, then I think it will have a way better defensive line, or rather defensive unit, than what PFF is saying.
What's your expectation? Where do you see this defense finishing out the season at rank wise in the NFL?
Middle of the pack now. So, I mean, if all goes well, and like I said, I really trust in Dennis Allen, and if everybody stays healthy, I really think we'll be top 10. I would say right inside the top 10, maybe 8 to 9 or 10.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I think you're hoping guys take a step. There's a lot of hope happening on this defensive line right now. You hope Dio Dangbo turns into a guy. You hope that Grady Jarrett can be the elite version of himself. You hope that Montes Sweat takes a step in the right direction. Hope don't always work out here in Chicago. Yeah, man. So a lot of hope. Yeah, man.
We're always doing things on a wing and a prayer. Sports teams.
It's how hope is gone in Chicago. I tell you. Oh God. Oh, look at it. Bears fans hope.
Oh, Dudley's just like staring off into the abyss
to death. Yeah, this is how hope has been in Chicago.
Yeah, salute.
Yeah. It's not good, man. Hey, that's what we've been hoping on lately.
Yeah,
we've been hoping on this. This has been our hope.
Bump on his head is hope. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you take that picture down. That's a legend. You'll forever be a legend.
This is where JC's hope is taking them. As we keep this thing moving along, appreciate y'all for tuning in to show. Love it. That like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Hey, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna take a quick break, listening to a word from our sponsors here, and let you guys know what we got over on twcbreeze.com. And when we come back, we do got to talk about the newest Chicago Bull from France. Welcome to Le Morning Breeze. Is that racist? Is that racist?
Le Morning Breeze.
Was I just racist right there? Was that? Hey, we gotta take a quick break. If I'm not here when we get back, I was. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching the show. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Aura. Have you ever done a Google search on your own name? You'd be surprised what pops up. Your full name, email address, home address, health records, your relatives. It's all out there. And that's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests just for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use that information to help them access my social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. It's really simple to set up. I don't have to download several apps or go to things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft, but you can get all of that in one place with Aura. I get everything at one affordable price as well. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like leaving the front door locked while leaving the back door and windows wide open. For you to be able to take advantage of Aura, we got a special deal for you here today. Stop data brokers from exposing your personal information. Go to my sponsor at https:/aura.com/the Windy City. Again, that is aura.com/the Windy City to get a 14-day free trial and see how much of your information is being sold. Breeze Nation, what is good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Ladies and gentlemen, we got merch. That's right. New website, new merch, all out. We've been telling you guys to pull up on us. Now you can at twcbreeze.com, where you can find out all of the latest stuff going on. What all can they find there, Super Producer?
Listen, you can join the nation, sign up to our mailing list, and be up to date for events and news. You can also visit the shop page and order merch, because we have t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got mugs, we got hats, we got all kind of stuff. So, hey, we appreciate you being tuned in with us. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube page and follow us on all our socials. Check us out at twcbreeze.com.
He's way too excited.
I am.
Never gets old.
It's funny how, like, under your breath, you was like, yeah, you got a little too excited there.
Yeah, he's way too excited. Hey, man, we just talked about this Bears defense. A lot of question marks on this Bears defense. Now we got to talk a little bit of Bulls. Talk a little Chicago Bulls. They are worth talking about today because Chicago Bulls made a move in the NBA draft yesterday. A lot of Bulls fans are like, what? Who? Why? There's a lot of Bulls fans out there right now. Why?
Oh, Lord.
I bet you thought we were going to get Cedric Coward, didn't you?
Ah, you jerk. You dangled him right before I picked. You was like, hit Cedric Coward for you. No.
Yeah, we definitely got hit with the old dollary do on that one. You got to be quicker than that. Got your dollar. Got to be quicker than that. You son of a. But no, man. Listen, the conversation around Noa Essengue is or Essengue. I was watching a lot of tape on him. They say this man named so many different ways.
Noa Essengue.
That's literally how they called him out at the draft. It's either Essengue or Essengue, and they said both in French. Is it maybe it sounds better?
I don't know why that sounds funny.
Noa Essengue.
No. Okay. All right. What is going on? You need to get the ass end game.
Essengue. I don't know how to say his name. Hopefully he will teach us all that by playing good basketball here to the point.
Yes. Hopefully it doesn't matter.
Bulls took Noa Essengue, whatever it is, in the number 12 in the NBA draft yesterday. There's a lot of question marks on this pick, and even when the pick was made, I said he's somebody who I think has the lowest floor in this draft, but potentially has the highest ceiling in this draft. And yet again, you're going with a high upside pick if you are the Chicago Bulls. Jordan, JC, you kind of alluded to it already, but you know, what were your thoughts after you were sitting there watching the screen like this for about 30 minutes?
Yeah, I wasn't pleased. I think the reason why I don't mind if you're like, you know, you're drafting 20th, 21st, 22nd, you know, that range where it's like, okay, the best players are off the board. You know, we're going to go with a project that clearly has the potential to be really, really good if, you know, he puts in a little bit more work. Maybe he's a skinnier project. You know, he's a young guy who has some tools, but, you know, with some development, with some years in the league, he can be something. When you're sitting there at 12 and you still have really good names on the board, like the guy that I wanted in Derek Queen, who clearly would have answered a question here at center, I'm going to keep saying it.
I
Then,
just love your Dairy Queen love and your Vooch hate. It's my favorite.
yeah,
thing
that's
in the
right.
world.
Because Vooch is, hey, you can call him the young version of Vooch all you want.
He's
I
literally
wanted
young
Dairy Queen. I wanted him. But and that's my point is like, are the Bulls betting off of the excitement of what could be versus what you kind of already have established and what was shown, in college? And I love the potential of him. I looked at highlights. Don't get me wrong. Like, he does look like a decent prospect, somebody who would fit well with the Bulls team as currently constructed. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say he doesn't fit well. You have Josh Giddey, who is very good in transition. And I think that's where he is really good right now in his game. And Noa Essengue is really good, is the transition game. Getting up and out on the break because of his length, has really fast, long strides, has great athleticism, is a guy that is very good at attacking the rim, rebounding the ball, very good offensive rebounder, very, very aggressive mindset. Yeah, big rim guy. And that's where you can see his strengths. Like I'm not going to sit here and say he's just a complete waste of talent, but he clearly has to improve in his shooting. Like that, and you just got rid of Peter Patton, so like how are you developing him with that? Because who's going to teach him how to shoot outside of him putting in the work for himself? I do like the fact that he has gone up against decent competition. He did play, I believe, in the preseason against one of the NBA teams.
He played against the Portland Trailblazers, gave him 20.
Give him 20. So he has a little bit of experience. He
played professionally.
That's my thing is, and that's why I don't want to overlook like his experience against professional basketball and people older than him. From what I've heard, even all the way back when he was about 16 years old in the, what is it called? The U17 league or something like he's always been good versus people older than him. He has shown that he has the potential to be really good versus people older than him. And so maybe that pans out. I just don't trust AK. I don't trust AK. I like
that is it. And this is what I had to say in my video yesterday when I had to come back, because I had to post another video because I was so distraught over Cedric Howard, bro. I couldn't believe it. It was like it was like that meme where it's like that when they pranked their dad, that they broke the TV and he turned around and just slams the door frame. Like, what the y'all?
Oh yeah, I forgot. What?
Yeah, that was me.
About that. Yeah,
that was me. That was me. Right? So you gotta dang it. Take the bro, 100%. I punched the chair. There was coffee spilled everywhere. The dogs were crying. The babies was screaming. I was so upset, bro. I couldn't believe it. I was in the house just losing my mind. But it's not because Noa Essengue does not have upside talent. It is the Bulls. I don't trust the Bulls. I think this kid can play. I think this kid, I'm going to give you a comp here, Jordan JC, that may make you feel a little bit meaty.
All right, who you got?
Noa Essengue is the defensive version of Modest. That's what you drafted. You drafted the Modest Buzelis if he was better at defense than he was at offense. Noa Essengue is going to be a better defender. He's an on-ball defender, very switchable. I think that he has a ton of upside. He's a rim-running player. Literally all of his highlights, if people who went out and looked at his highlights, are dunks. That's it. He can't shoot. He now over the last 3 years, he has gone from 17% to 25% to 33% shooting the three ball. So there is growth there. And as he comes into the NBA, the hope is that that will continue just like Modest Buzelis.
So what you're saying is, if I'm hearing this correctly, because IO came out and put a very, very huge comp to Modest Buzelis, saying that he could potentially be Giannis. So if we got the Modest Buzelis on offense, that could potentially be Giannis. What you're saying is that Noa Essengue can be Rudy Gobert.
I hope not.
Well, that's all I got for you.
Well, no, because and the other thing is too, right? Like, I don't know what the Bulls want him to play. I think he's a wing. I was sitting there saying he's a big man last night. He's 6'10". They're gonna bulk him up. They're gonna play him a big man.
Got a good wingspan, yeah.
But I'm not really sold on the big man thing. Although he can't shoot. Like,
Yeah. Look, hey, whoa, Key, don't you curse us like that. He is not Tyrus Thomas 2.0. Don't you dare say that.
nah, but you know what? Again, when you talk about the talent versus the mentality, Tyrus Thomas' talent was through the roof.
Yeah, the mentality was trash.
The mentality was trash. Noa Essenge's mindset is fine. How he goes about the business of basketball, how he goes about wanting to get better and things like that, that's fine. Also, this kid is 18. Again, I think Bulls fans' wrath with this pick has nothing to do with this young man. I think it has everything to do with you drafted a developmental piece and you're not good at developing people. And the 1 year you kind of showed that you were good at developing people. You fired the guy who was in charge of developing people. So I don't think a lot of Bulls fans' fury comes after the Bulls F this up yet again, maybe in their minds. I think it's just like the Bulls are going to do it, though. Like, we know they're going to do it. And that's what throws me out.
I don't think the Bulls really, and shout out to Andrew Seals. I don't think the Bulls realize that maybe they're better at just drafting or even acquiring players that are a little bit more established. Like the whole development project, it's not working for whatever reason. And we seemingly, well, yeah, but honestly, I think that's more modest. I mean, look at what he's doing now.
We can't do that, though. We can't do that. You can't say the Bulls have developed nobody, and then when players develop, you go, man, they didn't do that.
But you don't believe that there's a path where players sometimes just get better on their own, despite the development of or the coaching staff and what they put into that player?
I think more times than not, players develop on their own. I think players are more important than coaches in the NBA.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
So for me, I think players are everything in the NBA over some of these coaching staffs and some of the people that are put in place. But we can't sit there and go, well, you never develop anybody. And then when Kobe White has developed under Billy Donovan in a big way to the point where people want to.
I give more credit to dribble too much.
Is developed under Billy Donovan. Josh Giddey bounced back under Billy Donovan. That sounds crazy. Modest Buzelis last season developed in a big way. Modest Buzelis finished out last season. I was like, he's probably the third best rookie, maybe the second best rookie in this draft. He developed under Billy Donovan. So it's like, we can't take all of that away. And then when a player does develop, be like, nah, that was just him.
Okay. All right. I give you that. I'll give you that for now. I swear the track record just does not impress me. It does not give me any hope. And we talk about hope a lot on this channel. We just talked about hope. You better hope for whatever reason, AK somehow finds that lucky charm and he's hit on this and they actually develop him into what you say he potentially could be. Because if you have a modest on offense and a modest on defense, then we're cooking with something. Now we're talking about actually building a young core team where it won't just be constantly rebuild, retool after year. So we'll see.
I think here's the big thing about this too, and we got to talk about the second round of this draft real quick. That's going to take place tonight, which I believe if we get there on time, we can be live for. But we'll see. Which is going to take place tonight, though. But when you look at this pick, I do think what this screams out to you is the belief that the Bulls have in the current, at least two that they have on this team, even though we continue to hear about potential Kobe White trades that are out there and different things like that. We now know they want to move Lonzo and P. Will at all costs, which I would be very intrigued by coming into tonight. If you can get a second round pick in tonight's draft, I still think there's some solid pieces on the board that the Bulls could go out there and add to this team. And we'll talk about that coming up here in a second. But like, to me, this screams, we think Modest is going to take a jump next year. Like, not a step, a jump. This screams, we think Giddey is exactly who we saw in the second half of the season. And he's so good at what he does that it will help this young man along. That to me is the part where I can place my hope in and where I do see, because I'm sitting there watching these Modest streams whenever he's doing them with Io DeSumo after he's posted them and stuff like that. And I swear every time I catch one, I'm just like, is he bigger? What is he eating over there? Is he getting bigger again? Like, so there's an excitement there where you're not as, to me, I'm not as focused on Noa Essengue at this point or Essengue, however you say it, because I think that the belief is that the players that are already NBA players, the players that are already on the team, have a step that's about to come with the core that they already have in place, which are players we've seen take a step. So
Yeah.
I'm not as upset about it. I wasn't as upset. I was upset about Cedric Coward. I had to come back and make a whole nother video because
I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, that hurt me. That one hurt me.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The reason why I'm upset is not only because he went right before us, it's because of the team he went to. I love the fact that he went to Memphis. Him with John Morant, especially if Desmond Bane, obviously he's gone. That is going to be a nice pairing. I think he can grow really, really well into a role and essentially become a star there. So that was a good matching.
Cedric Coward gonna make them think about trading John Morant.
That's wild. Now that's a take. That's a take, bro.
They already want to trade John Morant.
I understand that because of his antics, but I mean the potential. Obviously, you're not going to give up on a wildly superior athlete like that. So the fact that you said that, that's a take. I'm with you on it. Maybe
trade John Morant.
All right, hey, get what you can for him. Get what you can for him.
That boy gonna ball.
Dude, I'd trade him for LaMelo and have LaMelo and Cedric.
Well, I wouldn't trade him for an also hurt point guard.
All right, well,
those Ball brothers and injuries, boy, they're synonymous. Let's finish it out with this, Jordan JC. And if y'all haven't done so out there, man, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Jordan JC, we are in theory.
Oh, what do we got?
And in conversation, and in context, and in everything else. Over 100 in the chat.
Oh,
there you go. Over 200 in the chat.
Oh,
200. What was
trying something different?
What was that?
Everybody talks about the pumps. I'm trying something different. I
don't like the Cabbage Patch.
No, you don't like that?
No, I'm not.
I have to do something different. All right,
that made me uncomfortable. Like,
we'll see. Yeah, I might try something every day. We'll see until it works.
I don't like that. Just stick with what we got. There we go.
All right.
Cabbage Patch was concerning. The second round is tonight, and the Chicago Bulls have an opportunity to add more to the team. They currently have one second round pick at 45. We've heard, like I just said, the Bulls are actively trying to trade and move on from Lonzo Ball and P. Will. Could they add another second round pick or possibly try to move up in the second round? And I think there's a player here worth moving up for, a player that stands out to me, that screams out, go get this guy and see what you can figure out with him, is Vladislav Golden. Out of Michigan. I think that that's somebody who's 7'1", 250 pounds. You want to answer your big man question? There you go. Doesn't foul a lot. Really solid defense. Now, I will say this. He moves like Zach Edey. Got a lot of lurch to his game. Like, it is a very slow-footed player. But if you want to take a chance on the upside, on the rebounds, on the defensive ability, block shots, things like that, I think that's a piece that's going to go high in this draft. I would move up as high as you can to try and grab him out of Michigan. But I mean, Rasheer Fleming is still on the board. Like, there's still pieces on the board that I am surprised fell to the second round. What are your thoughts on what the Bulls need to do in the second round, whether a player or just positionally?
Well, I mean, having Noa Essengue, despite his measurables, I still think that they need to focus on the interior and the paint. Vooch is someone I think they're going to really try to move because he's not really interested in a rebuild, nor am I interested in him being on this team anymore, as you know. But there's a player who when we talk about. I love Vooch. It's just time.
Sitting here singing the praises of Derek Queen.
It's time for him to go. But oh man, you put it right.
You hated Vooch. That was the thing.
I guess I'm just tired of seeing the same old thing. Like, great on offense, turnstile on defense. Like for me, I what?
Have you watched Derek Queen?
He has better potential. All right, yeah. We can develop the defense. All right. But here's my thing. Like, even if there's a question with that, I like the center, and I know one of the guys, actually, Adrian Mass mentioned it. Ryan Kalkbrenner That's a name. Center from Creighton. Kalk Brenner. I said Kalk Brenner.
You gotta.
All right. Let me make sure I enunciate that. But the 5-year standout at Creighton really improved each and every season. And you know, I did a little bit of a deep dive. 7'1", 9'4" standing reach.
Ooh, I like that.
Very decent as a defender. Like, he doesn't wow you with his athleticism or anything, but I mean, he's extremely efficient. He averaged his past season over 19 points, 8.5 rebounds, 2.7 blocks per game. And so, like, if you get somebody in here that has, first of all, had a number of experiences, has gotten accolades in college, and is kind of a veteran in a sense coming out of college, that's the kind of guy I want as well to kind of offset the project that you got in Noa Essengue. And I think he's someone who could come in. You know, to me, he's like the kind of the Ozzie Trapillo of this draft. If you were to go out and get him, you know, somebody who's clearly going to be a decent day one starter, not a lot of upside, but you know what you're getting with him: a high floor and a low ceiling, in a sense, where you're going to get really decent production from him from day one, and he's going to be a good role player. So that's who I'm looking for. Yeah,
listen, I think that when you talk about the rim protection with Kalk Brenner, his ability in the pick and roll, I thought was very good. He shot from the free throw line well, especially for a big man, and was a very high IQ defender. He's just somebody who knows his game, and you do love that. He's just somebody who knows his game, and those are players that last a long time in this NBA. Like, you know, to me, I continue to have the conversation on Adama Sanogo. You know, I thought that he would have been a perfect big for this team, but the feet weren't there. The feet weren't there. I give him that. But as far as just, I know I need to rebound this basketball and put the basketball back in, like, that was what Adama Sanogo was really good at. So I do think you need a guy like that on this team who knows his game, who knows his skill set. I think that he is, you know, to me, Kalk Brenner is probably a you got Kalk Brenner. You.
All right.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you enunciate that one.
When I came down,
I think that you got to, you know, I see him more as a backup in this league than a starter. But I mean, that's how you take your chances. If you find a backup center, you're in a great spot right now. If you're the Chicago Bulls, so I mean, older rookie, 24-year-old rookie, but
that's pretty old.
I don't care. Listen, here's my thing. If he plays well for 10 years, he's a 34-year-old.
That's all that matters.
That played well for 10 years. In the second round, if he plays well for 8 years, good job. Find another one. So, we'll see what ends up happening with this Bulls team overall. Second round of the draft is tonight. I believe we may end up going live for it, but we'll see. We will all be together in the studio tonight.
Yes, sir.
A little draft and not, maybe. We'll draft and
not. That's true.
Little draft and not. I got to get you back for that last game. That last one was crazy. That last top game was crazy, bro.
It was
over very fast. But hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Let us know how you guys feel about this Bulls team overall. Let us know your thoughts on the Bears defense as well. We'll talk about all that and more as we continue through the show. Week 4 of the NFL draft sims, or the NFL Bears sim season, dropping tomorrow morning. Chicago Bears taking on
Vegas Raiders.
Is that the Raiders?
The Raiders.
Opportunity to go 3-1 in our simulation. So tap in with us, man. It's gonna be fun. The Raiders. For Mr. Media himself, Judge JC, his boy Pat, the designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. See you. Peace.
In the NFL.
That's how you gotta say it. The Vegas Raiders.
Who was that used to do that?
He
isn't on the NFL. I can't remember that guy. What? Oh, is that Berman?
Chris Berman, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know he had the deep voice too. No.
The Raiders.
Jesus, Berman.
Feel like it doesn't work as well with Vegas though.
Yeah, it doesn't.